Sorry, I had to cut off there because I just saw an old friend I haven't seen for absolutely years. So maybe they are having speakers. Looks like they're getting the mic going up there. All right. So what's the demographic profile here? I don't think I've seen a single non-white person. So people aged about 30 to 60 would be mostly here. Okay, various flags. The smiley face flag. Didn't that used to be like ecstasy tablets or something? This COVID jab banner. I was just speaking to that lady there, and she was saying she's not against vaccines. She's been double vaccinated herself. So there's a diversity of opinion here. It's not like a monolith. And I've been here so many protests here, one against the liberation of Iraq and so on. Okay, you get the vibe. Anyway, I wondered a lot of my countryside people. Doesn't seem like a very London crowd to me. That's a neutral comment. Now, I don't recognise that flag in quarters blue and green with a red T in the middle, the red cross, if you will. Okay, stand up for your rights, say some of the t-shirts. Okay, wake up and unite for freedom, say no to no more lockdowns. Well, I was in favour of the first lockdown. I thought that was proportionate. But I think some of the restrictions have been unwarranted. How come I was able to travel to the Republic of Ireland, France, Italy, Spain and Switzerland last summer before any coronavirus vaccines, no problem. But this year, you know, wasn't able to do that. I mean, now it's becoming possible again. Even though, you know, the death toll is down, and if anything, restrictions should be loosened, not tightened, as the health situation's improved. We're sort of facing health totalitarianism. So you can see, I don't know what a lot of these symbols mean, actually. And that is the National Gallery behind. Anyway, perhaps we've seen enough of these delights. I might head back to my bicycle. So people were wearing t-shirts saying "super spreader," for example. COVID is a giant scam. Well, I've got to get this one. I don't think so. So this is what anti-intellectualism gets you. Some sort of anti-scientific people, wacko conspiracy theorists. I'm not saying everybody here is absolutely around the bend, but some of them will be, depending if that is freedom over fear. Because I'm slightly worried that lockdown is becoming the new normal, but that statists will love it. The nanny statists, they get a hold of powers and then they'll never let loose of them. Freedom of the state, not being enslaved. Hypocrites get offended by the truth. Okay. So we have no COVID passports. Well, I think COVID passports could be reasonable to say to get on a plane or something like that. Or some countries, part of the immigration policy might be okay. So oddly, you know, people like Trump 2020 lady, is you'd think that they would be against people coming into the country, try and make it as difficult as possible, often saying that foreigners are diseased. Okay, occasion that's true. Diseases, contagious diseases exist in every country in the world. And some of these communicable diseases are more widespread in some countries than others. So it's not completely false. People say, oh, it's a racialist thing. Well, it doesn't have to be a racialist thing. No one should be mistreated on account of his or her race. It doesn't mean you can't tell the plain truth about certain illnesses being more common in certain countries. So anyway, you've got the idea. They're not that hyped up. Maybe they're going to get a speaker to hype them up. And right over there was some communists, and I really do mean communists, revolutionary communist group, protesting in favor of the Cuban dictatorship. What's she all about? So there, yeah, soon the under 18s are going to have these corona injections available to them. I think if they're already highly vulnerable, they can already get them. And anyway, the Tokyo Olympics has kicked off, and most Japanese were against it, worrying it's bringing coronavirus into the country, which is undoubtedly true to my astonishment. Not all the athletes had to be vaccinated, and about half of the Russian athletes have been vaccinated. We're staggered. I thought that they would make that sine qua non of going there. And what is this protest? Oh, is it Biafra? Ah, Biafran protest. How about that? So this part of Nigeria, where the Igbo people, the majority, broke away in 1967. There was the Biafran War for 3 years, Biafra battle for independence, but was eventually defeated by Nigeria and reintegrated into Nigeria, an oil-rich region. So the Igbo are distinct people with their own language. They're almost all Christians. And so, whereas Yorubas are mostly Christians, around a few Muslims, the Fulani and Hausa in the north, almost all Muslims. Say no to Fulani terrorists in Yoruba's land. Wow. Stop killing us, stop raping our mothers and sisters, we can't take it anymore. End Fulani in Yoruba land. Okay, there we go. So that is the flag of Biafra. I remember seeing it a little bit, some progress in the last few years. And that guy who was actually declared himself president of Biafra, he was allowed back to Nigeria and wasn't punished, even though hundreds of thousands of people were killed. A lot of people died of malnutrition in that conflict as well. So anyway, the United Kingdom provided military aid and guidance to Nigeria. It's only a few years after independence. Someone said that was wrong, that was immoral, but one of the arguments was that the UK didn't and the Soviets would. They were worried about Nigeria falling into the Soviet sphere of resistance. It was France, South Africa, White Rhodesia were willing to accord recognition to Biafra. But what is this? Da Police. So the Organization of African Unity in those days said we have to accept these post-colonial borders. We mustn't change them. Because once we start changing them, we can never ever stop changing them. So walking around the rear of this decidedly unimpressive protest, I got to say, well, all of them. I mean, the Biafra protest had a bit of vim to it. We were just milling around aimlessly. The anti-lockdown people, I think that wasn't going to energize anyone. Perhaps hasn't really got going yet. Look at that. And people always like to pose on top of these lines. Jomo Kenyatta used to stand there, want to speak, but they're not very even. You could easily slip off, so a little bit dangerous. So you've got to watch your step when you're doing so. Well, I'm very thirsty. I'm going to have to go get some water. Yes, thirsty work, cycling, and reporting on anti-lockdown protests. So just after Trafalgar Square, there are a number of high commissions out of South Africa, Canada, Uganda, and Malaysia. As in, they are embassies but of Commonwealth countries. Ooh, naughty, it's a red man, but I'm going anyway. Okay. So please follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, TikTok, and donate with the greatest generosity to me on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Really want to keep that going. So now you can see the whole of Trafalgar Square. A few thousand people there.